It is an obsession of the left, killing the unborn. But last night, J.D. Vance did a good job. And here's the first part of the question. Play cut.
But as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think, whether you're pro-choice or pro-abortion, that is fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I use that word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen, do you want to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions against their will? Because Kamala Harris has supported suing Catholic nuns to violate their freedom of conscience. We can be a big and diverse country where we respect people's freedom of conscience and make the country more pro-baby and pro-family. But please.
How did J.D. do, and what about Waltz's response? No better guest to analyze than the National Director for Priests for Life. He's in the studio, Father Frank Pavone. Welcome back to America.
It is always great to be with you, Seb. Thanks for having me.
So we teed it up, the first part. Now let's listen to Governor Waltz's response, and then you'll give us the analysis. Play cut 16.
Look, this is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple proposition. These are women's decisions to make about their healthcare decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me, what was I wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written. Look, I've given
But how?
I've given this advice on a lot of things, that getting involved, getting engaged, that's been misread, and it was fact-checked at the last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these guys to try and tell women or to get involved. I use this line on this, just mind your own business on this. Things work best when Roe versus Wade was in place. When we do a restoration of Roe, that works best. That doesn't preclude us from increasing funding for children. It doesn't increase us from making sure that once that child's born, like in Minnesota, they get meals, they get early childhood education, they get health care. So the hiding behind we're going to do all these other things when you're not proposing them in your budget. Kamala Harris is proposing them. She's proposing all those things to make life easier for families.
I asked a specific question, Governor. You gave me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not true. That's not what the law says. So they fact-checked it with President Trump.
Meals for children after they're born.
Who disagrees with that?
Right. So two human beings go into the abortion clinic.
Right.
One comes out, and his response is, quote, mind your own business.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Seb, we're not having an honest debate about abortion in this country. I always say to the Democrats, describe what you defend. They like to say they're defending their right to choose. They never describe what an abortion is. That's the first point. You see how he talks about it as if it's just a matter of women's health, women and their physician, women's autonomy. Yeah. It's like if you reduce the whole debate to one dimension, and that is the women's health. None of us have anything against women's health or reproductive rights as such. What we have something against is killing a baby. He doesn't even want to admit there's a second part to the debate, a second element of the equation.
This is so important. Who's against women's health?
Right.
Who? In America.
Exactly.
A woman can be healthy after the baby is born. They're not less healthy. Mm-hmm. But there's one fewer human being if there's an abortion.
The killing of the baby is one thing they keep ignoring. The second part is the negative impact of abortion on women's health. I mean, there are bibliographies this thick.
The psychological impact.
Exactly, and we deal with that all the time. You know our Silent No More campaign. Women are speaking out about this all the time. Tim Walz doesn't want to hear it. The Democrats don't want to hear it. And that thing about the babies being born alive, but J.D. Vance is exactly right. In fact, it's not just a Tim Walz problem. It's a Democrat Party problem. Because for years, just down the street in the United States Capitol, the Republicans tried to increase on the federal level the protection that babies have if and when, because it sometimes happens, right, that they're born alive after a failed abortion. The Democrats didn't even want to have a vote on it, much less pass it.
You want to protect a baby that's been born? Why not?
Yeah. This is, of course, the ultimate reason is that undermines the so-called choice of abortion, but they won't do it.
We will continue. Endabortion.us, endabortion.us. We're talking to Father Frank Pavone. We're back with our good friend, Father Frank Pavone. Endabortion.us is the website you need to go to today, endabortion.us. And we didn't rehearse this because it just happened this morning. So my wife is now the chair of the GOP for the biggest county in Virginia.
Yes.
And as such, I don't see her very much. We kind of meet each other in bed every night. And this morning, she's briefed Green Berets. She's briefed, you name it, the intelligence community. She was press secretary for the Customs and Border Protection Agency for President Trump. But this morning, she was very nervous. She had to go to a high school.
Oh, boy.
And 600 kids in 3 shifts. My wife had to represent the Trump campaign while she was debating somebody who was arguing for Kamala Harris. Okay, and the third person, this is unbelievable. We're like 12 miles from D.C., and the third person was a representative of the Democratic Socialists of America. So one Republican versus the Democrats and the commies in front of the high school kids. And she said it was tough. But the thing that shocked her the most, and help me to understand, because you know better than anyone, how we arrived here. She said the young girls in this high school, right outside the nation's capital, were obsessed and only cared about one thing and one thing alone when it came to the election, and it's their right to kill the unborn. That's all they told her about. Abortion, abortion, abortion. Have we been captured by the dark one? What is? How did this begin?
That's ultimately what it is. This is a darkness. This is a lot of it is born of pain. It's the result of a nihilism. You know, if you reject the Creator, you're going to reject the creation.
But if you're a 15-year-old girl who's never had an abortion, why are you so obsessed with killing babies?
Yeah, exactly. It's not natural. They have learned this from a lot of the advocates of abortion. I mean, we're looking right now in this election not only at the pro-abortion extremism of Harris and Walz and the whole party, but these amendments in 10 states that want to declare abortion to be a fundamental right. Now, I think a lot of this with these young girls, you know, people have indoctrinated them to say, oh yeah, you're in favor of fundamental rights. Oh yeah. Without analyzing, like we said in the previous segment, they never describe what they defend. But we're talking about folks, can I mention the states, by the way? Yeah. Arizona, Colorado, and Florida. Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, Florida. We got something called Amendment 4. All these amendments, New York and also South Dakota, they're trying to put it in the Constitution of the state that you can't put any limit on abortion whatsoever. That's
perverse.
Walz wants to stand there and say, oh no, that's not true. You know, we don't. Yes, it is true. They want abortion right to birth. No limits. I mean, we spent 50 years debating. After Roe v. Wade, it was like, okay, abortion's illegal, but do we have to pay for it? Can parents be involved when it's a minor? Can clinics be regulated?
I remember the phrase back to Roe v. Wade, rare, legal.
Safe, legal, and rare. That was Clinton's favorite phrase, right? But now it's like, throw out all parental involvement, throw out clinic regulations, throw out protection of our tax money from abortion. They are upset. It's a whole movement of obsession with abortion. And for these young people to be tied into that, you know what? It goes back to the experience of the women who've had abortions. We need those voices. Silent no more. Yes. Because that's what these young women need to hear. Is talk to someone who's been through it. Now, unfortunately, some of them have been through it. And so this rapid pro-abortion zeal, in a lot of cases, Seb, it's their way of covering up the pain.
Right.
That's
they want to run away from it.
Yes.
So they want to justify it.
Yeah. Not in all cases, but that is a lot of what's going on.
And for me, I don't want to oversimplify it, but for me, abortion has been sold to the nation as a form of contraception.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not a baby. I didn't take contraception, therefore I'm not killing anything. It's sold like a contraception.
In my work, I have ministered to people who had as many as 26 abortions.
Oh my gosh.
What happens is they have the abortion, then they feel so bad about it that they say, oh, I can't be a mother. Then if they get pregnant again, they say, oh, I have to kill the child. I'm not worthy to be a mother. It's a vicious downward spiral. There are people, most of the abortions in this country, as a matter of fact, are repeat abortions. They've had at least one of them before. More abortion leads to more abortion.
Okay.
And
we've got 30 seconds left. I want everybody to follow you, FR Frank Pavone, on Twitter, endabortion.us. Most important question. You can come back to God after this, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. We're leading people back to God every day after abortion, even after multiple abortions. I even ministered to Norma McCorvey, the Jane Roe of Roe v. Wade, and Bernard Nathanson, who started the abortion industry. I helped them both, and they both took hold of God's mercy. If they can repent and find forgiveness, anyone can.
That is the power of God's mercy and the limitless grace that He provides us. We just have to want to come back to Him. And I love the name of this website, endabortion.us. That's endabortion.us. We can do it thanks to President Trump. Roe v. Wade has been thrown on the ash heap of history. Now we need to continue the work in every state of the union. Endabortion.us. I'm